Hi everyone, thank you for joining the first Drive Electric Earth Day webinar. We're just going to wait a couple more minutes while people still join, and so we'll start at around 11:03. All right, so we're going to get started. So thank you again for everyone who's joined. This is the first Drive Electric Earth Day webinar. It's going to give a brief overview of what Drive Electric Earth Day is and the best ways to participate. Next slide, please. And so on the call today will be myself, Kylie Morgan. I'm from Plug in America, and I manage National Drive Electric Week as well as Drive Electric Earth Day. Also Stan Hannell, who is a National Drive Electric Week and Drive Electric Earth Day event organizer, or city captain, as we say, will be joining us, and he'll be talking about the differences between organizing an ENDU event and a DEED event. And then also Guy Hall, he's the director of Electric Auto Association, and he'll be presenting in the webinar as well. If you see in his hand that silver cylinder he's holding is actually one of the 8,000 batteries from a Tesla vehicle, and is from a Tesla that was driven to Alaska and back. So a little fun fact. Next slide, please. All right, so what is Drive Electric Earth Day? Drive Electric Earth Day is an international series of events to promote electric vehicles. Plug in America, Sierra Club, and the Electric Auto Association collaborate to organize this event nationally and internationally. With our support, each event is organized individually by a variety of individuals and organizations. So anyone looking to organize an electric vehicle event internationally or anywhere in the US can add that event to the Drive Electric Earth Day website and receive our support. We do, each event that's on the website should focus on showcasing as many EV models as possible. And the national sponsors of Drive Electric Earth Day are Flow, who is the exclusive national charging sponsor, and Audi of America, who is a national silver level sponsor. Next slide. All right, so many of you may be familiar with National Drive Electric Week. National Drive Electric Week is also organized by Plug in America, Sierra Club, and the Electric Auto Association. It's a week-long event in September every year with events in all 50 states and internationally, thanks to our many volunteers who organize the events. In comparison, Drive Electric Earth Day is an opportunity to hold similar electric vehicle events, except all throughout the month of April. And we view it as a new opportunity for EV enthusiasts who want to organize an event or already organize events to connect with Earth Day events in their community and join those celebrations. EVs help the environment by producing fewer or no emissions, and so they pair well with many Earth Day celebrations who are looking for ways to showcase clean energy. Of course, a Drive Electric Earth Day team can create their own event, or they can pair with an existing Earth Day event or other community celebration. Next slide. All right, and before I hand it over to Guy, one thing I want to emphasize is that Drive Electric Earth Day, volunteers, EV owners bring a lot of value to existing Earth Day events. So, when you approach an event about joining and organizing an EV showcase, just remember that your vehicle is a great display model for clean energy, and you yourself as an EV owner are a great spokesperson for what it is like to drive electric. And that's sort of the value we're hoping that all our volunteers can bring to Earth Day celebrations. Gaiho, you want to go ahead?
Sure. Thank you, Kylie. This is really an exciting time to be working with electric vehicles. I mean, 2019, it looks like it'll have a greater presence in the media about electric vehicles. We've got a broader selection of vehicles coming to market, and a lot more concerned about the impact of global warming and the environment and what to do for that. So this will be a great year, and it ties so well, as Kylie was saying, into our EV events. Now, one of the things that we have found in the past is that it's much easier to bring electric vehicles to a big event with people than it is to bring people to a big EV event. So we go to where the people are instead of bringing the people to our event. So this is Earth Day is kind of a perfect example of that. They're bringing in a tuned-in audience and they handle at the same time much of the work and the costs. So we can focus on the value of the EVs and communicating with the attendees. Now, the other aspect of it that's kind of unique is that an Earth Day event will often have a lot of other activities going on at the event, which makes it actually easier to recruit and obtain volunteers for your event to show the EVs, because they can spend part of the time talking about their personal experience and showing their car, and the part of the time checking out the other activities in the event. So it's a much easier sell to recruit your own volunteers. Now, of course, as Kylie mentioned, that we're bringing a lot of value and excitement to the Earth Day event itself. So we're showcasing sustainable solutions. We're providing the energy and help increase the promotion for the event and the awareness. Can we go to the next slide? Terrific. Oh, actually, I'm going to ask a favor for the person managing the slides. Can you drop back 2 slides to the last one that Carly did? I believe it's slide 6 or 4, I mean. Thank you. Yeah, we have one of the pictures here is an event at Kaiser Hospitals in Sacramento for their Earth Day event for their employees and their clients. And they asked us to join in, show a few cars and talk about that. So just one example here. So let's go ahead back on to slide 6 if we can. All right, so there's a range of possible partners that you can work with at these events. There's nonprofit organizations that are always keen to get something to showcase at their events. Local governments are particularly interesting. They're often driven by grants and helping them with their outreach by bringing EVs and owners that can share their experience in an authentic way with the community is very powerful for them and helps them report back to the grant, to the folks that provided the grant. Now, businesses often will do Earth Day events for their workplace, for their employees. And they have some particular advantages in that they're doing it during the weekday, often lunch or in the afternoon, which makes it much easier to acquire and bring in test drive folks from various different dealerships in the area. Dealerships are often overloaded on weekends, and it's harder to get their attention for an event. But they're often very enthused for a midweek event, and they also love engaging with businesses there because they see a great opportunity for sales. So then there's a few other organizations such as often educate high schools, colleges, and we've found that they're a good opportunity to be able to engage in and offer, in addition to the event, offer a talk about electric vehicles to one of their classes or meetings. So you can often get some extra value with them as well. Now, across all of these, that's very important as you think of not just doing the event, but this is building a partnership for future engagements. You might find the business is looking at workplace charging and might actually appreciate your involvement and opinions as to how they ought to go forward on that. Or a city is looking about establishing electric vehicle policies, or a utility is looking at piloting some sort of EV program. So think of these as you're working with these partners, not just this event, but future engagements with them. Okay, next slide. All right, now I don't want anybody to freak out, but this is a calendar for one of the chapters of the Electric Auto Association in Sacramento. You can see that they've done, in last April of 2018, they did 11 different events. Now, if they were putting on those events themselves, it would have been absolutely impossible. But partnering with other Earth Day, with other organizations that are putting on Earth Day events and coming and bringing an asset to their event, entirely doable. You can see even on one day, we even had 3 different events that we brought vehicles and people to. Now you scale for each event that you're going to be partnering with. Make sure you scale it appropriately. You can go from 1 or 2 people up to, like on the 22nd, the Ecos Earth Day, we had 30 people and a similar number of cars. So scale it to the size of the event and to the alignment with what their interests are. And I guess let's go on to the next slide. Great. So how do you find these potential partners? And number of avenues, and they will pop up pretty quickly. Certainly asking around with friends and family that who might have organizations or clubs they belong to, or at their workplace. Reach out to them. They might direct you appropriately. Newspapers often will do event calendars for Earth Day events, and checking with your mayor, board of supervisors, leadership in your community, asking them. Interesting enough, you can go to Eventbrite, which is a common tool for those people managing events, and looking for your region and look for the keywords Earth Day, and suddenly you'll find a bunch will pop up. Now, to support you in all of these is consider working with the chapter of the Electric Auto Association that might be close by. You'll find that they may have already reached out to some folks and you can work with them, or they'll be able to bring you assets such as, people, flags and literature and such. So feel free always to go to electricauto.org and look for events and department chapters in your area. Now, as you're working with each of these partners, make sure you're understanding from their point of view what the event's all about. You might assume that it's identical to yours, but not always the case. So, of course, you want to check with the date, time, and location. But and then they ask them whether they want just an information center, be able or showcase vehicles, even provide test drives. But find out how what's the priority to them, and align as well as you can with that. You'll be able to ask them about promotion plans. Are they sending out information to their client base or their employees or their membership, and find out how you can support that by providing additional information about the event. They love often photos to include in flyers. So work with them to understand what they're trying to do. At that same time, as I mentioned before, of looking at this as a partnership, understand what their other plans are outside of the event, whether they're looking at charging or other events later in the year, and activities that are going on. And of course, activities at that event are important as you recruit your own volunteers. So I think with that, I'm going to hand it back over to Kylie.
All right, next slide, please. So thank you, Guy. That was great. And just a note for all the audience members, you can use the question feature on your control panel to ask any questions. We will have time at the end to answer any questions that are posted. All right, so some frequently asked questions are, who can sponsor my event? So events can be sponsored locally by anyone, any automaker, charging company, or other organization. You can also promote local sponsors on your event's marketing materials and on your online event page on the driveelectricearthday.org website. Flow and Audi of America are the national sponsors, but that doesn't prohibit you from having local sponsors. However, we do ask that you recognize Flow and Audi of America on all marketing materials. And what vehicles should I showcase at my event? So Drive Electric Earth Day focuses solely on plug-in electric vehicles as opposed to hybrids without plugs. So we do ask that emphasis is also given to freeway-capable vehicles. A lot of events do have things like electric scooters and electric bikes, which are great additions to your event. But obviously be sure to make sure that there's a good range of freeway-capable plug-in electric vehicles at your event. And then when is Drive Electric Earth Day? So anyone can, with an EV event in the month of April, can register their event on the website, and it will count as a Drive Electric Earth Day event, which means it'll receive our support. That includes insurance, our online resources, and our free event kits. Next slide. All right, so resources. The online website offers many templates. So if you go to the website, which is driveelectricearthday.org, and on the resources page, you'll find templates such as a press release template, a tear sheet flyer template, and you'll also find downloadable logo files for when you design your own flyers or promotional items. So you can download the Drive Electric Earth Day logo, as well as the Flow and Audi of America logos. We will also be offering free event kits to anyone with an EV event registered on the website in April. The event kits are free to order and will be shipped to you for free. They will include a vinyl banner with Drive Electric Earth Day written on it, as well as the logo. And they will also include EV educational materials. So that includes the Plug in America EV Guide, which is a bifold brochure that shows all the available electric vehicle models on the market, as well as their electric range and MSRPs. And another educational material that will be included is a Charging 101 sheet, which explains the 3 different levels of charging vehicles. And then more details will be available on other materials in the kit when they're available to order on the website. So another resource we offer is a list of press contacts to help you promote your event. We usually provide this closer to April because that's when press will be interested in hearing about your event, is closer to the actual event. And on the online resources page, you can also find a webinar page that has webinars we've done for National Drive Electric Week, many of which will be helpful for you as a DEED event organizer. One specific webinar called Engaging with Media has social media tips that'll help with marketing your event on social media. And we'll also be doing one more webinar for Drive Electric Earth Day. It will be in late February or early March, and that will talk about marketing your event and other topics to be decided. And Plug in America and EAA, as electric vehicle organizations that promote electric vehicles, have a vast EV owner network. So if you are organizing an Earth Day event and are interested in having an EV showcase at your event, you can reach out to myself or Electric Auto Association to see if there are volunteers in your area willing to show up for an EV showcase. Or if you're holding an EV showcase of your own and would like support, you can also reach out. And finally, Electric Auto Association offers this electric vehicle event coordinator's handbook to its members. It's a really great comprehensive guide to get you started on how to organize your own event. And that's available right now to EAA members only. Next slide. All right, another common topic for event organizers is insurance. So this is a big concern for some people, and Plug in America, Sierra Club, and EAA can help with this in some circumstances. So if you're organizing your own event, this insurance may be required by some hosts and venues. One of the benefits of co-locating with an existing community event or Earth Day event is that you might not have to worry about insurance. But if you do need insurance, you can reach out to our 3 organizations. in terms for Plug-in America and Electric Auto Association, our insurance does not cover test drives, owner ride-alongs, or any accidents related to personal vehicles. And if you're having test drives at the event, we suggest that you require dealers to provide insurance for their test drives, which they should be able to do. If you are an Electric Auto Association member, you can be covered with the EAA policy. And Plug-in America specifically, we do provide event insurance. However, we provide that only to individuals, so we cannot insure people who are organizing an event on behalf of a larger organization, such as a university, nonprofit, or business. But it is on a case-by-case basis. So you can email me or support@driveelectricearthday.org to request insurance or ask any questions about that. And my email will be available at the end of the webinar.
Kylie, if I can just add one extra little comment.
Yeah,
for that insurance, for the insurance on either from Plug-in America or Electric Auto Association, they need to notify us about the event before, like 1 or 2 weeks before the event. So you can't just do the event and then assume that you're covered. You need to actually provide notification to either one of us.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So you need to actually have a certificate of insurance in hand that shows you are insured, and we do need some time to put that together. So be sure to plan ahead. All right, next slide. Okay, so I'm going to hand it over to Stan Hannell. He has done a National Drive Electric Week event in the past and is organizing a Drive Electric Earth Day event. His events that he's going to talk about right now are a large example of events that you can do. Some events involve just a few EV owners displaying their vehicles and talking about Drive Electric, but you can also do really big, events like he's done, which are absolutely fantastic. So go ahead, Stan.
Thank you, Kylie. Really appreciate it. And the first slide you're looking at is an event that we do for National Drive Electric Week. It's at a location called Springs Preserve. It's part of the Las Vegas Valley Water District, and it showcases gardening techniques for living out here in the desert and other things like that. It's also a cultural museum. The Natural History Museum is co-located, and they get about 1,000 people per day walking through, say, on a Saturday. That's usually our preferred day for National Drive Electric Week. The location is good because we had a combination of photovoltaic solar panels, as you can see, plus charge point charging stations. There were 2 stations with 4 ports available and enough parking area under the solar canopy for 40 to 50 vehicles. And so the way we staged our standalone event was basically to call it an electric car rally. A couple of years ago, we actually started also doing what we call the Choose Bar Crawl, and we would organize people that would show up at the rally and go out and tour some of the local DC fast charge stations, some of the free public level 2 charging stations, that sort of thing as well. So those were the kind of things we had going. To prepare for that event, I usually had to book and reserve the location, the date, and the time about 6 months in advance with a deposit or down payment. Also, as the event got bigger, I wound up having to hire an extra security guard to help us out, and the insurance requirements also went up. So we had $1 million liability coverage for that event, and as well as food and beverage, and as in the rental fee, I could actually get free tables and chairs included in the rental fee for that location. And then I would put those out at no cost to some of the nonprofits in our area that were related to electric vehicles, people like First Robotics, Sierra Club, Untitled Chapter, and the Green Alliance of Nevada Citizens Climate Lobby, and as well as political supporters in order to get media coverage. The total cost for the location rental, the security, the insurance, the food and beverage, and the tables and chairs would be about $700. I could probably defer that by going through the EAA, but working with the folks, I went through their TULIP insurance program, and it cost about $100 to get $1 million worth of insurance. And I just preferred to go with them because it was kind of a turnkey operation. They pretty much, the Springs Preserve managers were able to do a lot for me so that I could basically pay them one fee and get that all taken care of. So after the event was over last year, we had about 200 plus attendees, and total plug-in vehicles that came were about 42 different EV drivers. The marketing outreach, I've leveraged a lot of social media. We have a shoestring budget, as you might imagine, and but we are able to leverage some press coverage as well. So that's the first slide. If you go to the next slide, we can talk about what we're trying to do for Drive Electric Earth Day. So this is kind of the advantage, as Guy mentioned, of scaling by joining in with an existing community organization. And so that's something we've actually been kind of doing informally through our club for the last 5 years or so. And it's worked out really well. What we need to do, though, is kind of carve out our own zone within that event. It's called Green Fest, Green Festival. It's going to be held this year around April 20th, the Saturday before Earth Day. And basically, we'll not only do kind of an electric car show that will involve the dealership with different electric cars as well as personal owners, but we'll also do an electric vehicle procession just prior to the event starting at 10 a.m. And we'll gather a bunch of EV owners at an off-site location and then just kind of parade in together as a caravan. And then as we drive past the main stage of the event, we'll get a shout-out and some announcements from to recognize the folks that are coming in. And then we have a separate parking area set aside for them, and they can pull in and then come into the event and join us at that point. So kind of a way of leveraging other folks as well. And so the benefits, there's also a farmers market that's going to be co-located at the same site as the Green Festival. And that downtown Summerlin location is about 7 miles away from the Las Vegas Strip. It's a high-end residential shopping district, but it's also the home to our training center for our Las Vegas Knights hockey team, National Hockey League team. That's doing pretty well this year, so we're happy for them. So anyway, with that result is we're able to leverage traffic on a scale 10 times larger than we could do with our standalone event. So we'll probably get about 10,000 plus people in foot traffic. The downtown Summerlin shopping district can draw 60,000 people on a weekend. So we're hoping to peel off at least about 10,000 plus for that. The event site also has photovoltaic solar. We'll have some portable trailers, and the Green Fest actually runs off of solar. So that was kind of a feature of that festival, is they have solar trailers to basically power the whole event. Plus, there's the charging ports available with some of those trailers, and then plenty of parking outside the because it's a shopping center. They have areas we can zone off. And then the nice thing about this event is it does cost about $100 per booth for a nonprofit. Dealerships actually pay more. As a business, they may pay $300 to $400 per booth, but they seem to like this venue because it is a high-end shopping district, and we're having a lot of traffic. Then we can convince more dealerships usually to turn out, provide a couple of vehicles at each of their booths, as well as a salesperson to staff it during the day. And that's something I can't really do with my smaller events because Saturday is usually the most busiest day for a dealership to make sales at that point. So other than that, I guess the insurance, I can share that. So instead of having to go through the EAA or through Tulip, there are some requirements. The dealerships do cover, their own insurance, and then there are some requirements regarding individual booths to make sure they have the coverage. But it's a lot less than trying to fund the whole event. So it's a good way to leverage that. So I think that's pretty much what I have to share. If anyone has any questions, be happy to answer them at the end of the presentation.
All right, thank you so much, Dan. All right, next slide, please. All right, so some next steps after hearing how to get involved. You can visit the DEED website, which is driveelectricearthday.org, to find an event near you where you can register to volunteer at, or you can register to organize your own event. You can also sign up for the mailing list for Sierra Club, Electric Auto Association, or Plug in America. We often include news about Drive Electric Earth Day and National Drive Electric Week, such as we'll let you know when webinars like this are happening, or if we have any promotional efforts for the programs. And then finally, Electric Auto Association, it will be hosting a webinar on their event coordination handbook that I mentioned before on Saturday, February 16th. So that'll be good to attend if you're organizing your first event. And as I mentioned before, the Drive Electric Earth Day team will be doing another webinar in late February or early March. All right, next slide, please.
Actually, Kylie, can I mention another comment on the event coordination webinar?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, well, so this is a great webinar that has come together with the help of the Electric Auto Association and the American Lung Association. But we're bringing in Juka Kukamonen. I'm sorry, I may have butchered that name a bit. My apologies. But he's from he's a consultant with Plug-in Connect Plug-in Connect. He's an evangelist and an educator and a public speaker. So he's a great guy to listen to, and he'll be able to talk a lot about how to make an event not only just successful, but make it fun in doing so. In fact, he's titled his event, Tips to Make an Event Coordinating Easy and Fun. So this is a high value event, and it's free to anybody interested in it. Just go ahead and get on our mailing list, and we'll make sure you know about it. And I think I will try to work with Kylie also to make sure that that information gets out to everybody on this event.
Yeah, definitely. We'll work together to make sure Plug-in America supporters get that information as well. All right, and this is just a screenshot of the Drive Electric Earth Day website. So if you were to go to the website and then click on the events tab, you would see this. So if you wanted to organize your own event, just click the register your event button, or you can also volunteer to organize an event or learn more about it on our resources page. All right, next slide. Okay, so that's the end of our webinar. You can find my email there. Feel free to email me with any questions regarding Drive Electric Earth Day or National Drive Electric Week. You can also email support@driveelectricearthday.org, and that'll go to all the teams organizing DEED. And I'm now going to go to the questions feature in the control panel and see what questions have been submitted. So one question, does DEED have a talking points or FAQ sheet that organizers can use when fielding questions from the public? That is a great question. If it's not already on the resources page, that's definitely something we can put together and send out to everyone. One thing we will be adding to the resources page soon is an email template that you can use when emailing Earth Day event organizers in your community. So it'll be kind of a pitch template for how to pitch having an EV showcase at their event and how you can help. And we'll definitely look into getting some talking points on the website as well.
And Kylie, also, if I can add something to that, for many people, it's really tough to be out there showing your electric car and trying to engage the community. It's tough to stop people. How do I stop someone that's walking by and engage them in a conversation? So the handbook, the coordinator's guide, the handbook has got a number of ideas on how you can do that easily and very comfortable approaches to get passerbyers to engage in a discussion about how electric vehicles might be right for them. So encourage people to look for that guide and pick up some tips and techniques for doing that, in addition to the talking points.
Definitely, thank you. All right, and then another question is, if pure electrics are not available, are plug-in hybrids acceptable? Absolutely. So we encourage you to display pure electric vehicles as well as plug-in hybrids. Both can run on only electricity for a time, so it's a good example of the electric vehicles we're trying to showcase and promote. All right, and another question here, is the Plug-in America EV buying guide updated from last year? So we're actually working on that right now. If you sign up to receive an event kit when that's made available on the DEED website, you will receive the updated EV guide, which will have the 2019 models electric range and MSRPs. Guys, so there's a question here, I think, for you. How do we become an EAA member? And does this benefit us, the EV developer located here in Diamond Bar, CA, or California?
I'm sorry, what was the location?
Diamond Bar, California.
Okay. So if you go to electricauto.org, you'll find a place to be able to sign up and join the Electric Auto Association. The annual membership is $35 a year, pretty nominal. But as doing that, you can also see where the other chapters are. There's a map that shows the different chapters. You can align with them, and they will be notified about your joining that in that area, in that chapter. So I think that should probably be the easiest way to do that. You can also just send the question back to this to Kylie, and I'm sure she'll route it appropriately with any follow-ups about specifics of the Electric Auto Association.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Another question, any thoughts about involving Uber and Jump or others regarding electric bike and scooter rentals? So, the national organizing team, we reach out to a lot of people to maybe sponsor Drive Electric Earth Day. You'll know if you see their logo on the website, they become a sponsor. But we do encourage anyone organizing an event to reach out to Uber or any electric bike or scooter company if you're interested in having them at your event. Oftentimes, even if companies aren't willing to be a national sponsor, they're still happy to participate in EV events like this and showcase their products, and it'd be a great addition to your event as well.
Again, another note on that, you'll need to be concerned also about safety. It's very clear that if you're bringing electric cars to an event, that you'll be concerned about making sure that the test drives are safe. But sometimes electric bikes and scooters and such are in this in-between area, and they don't always get the attention to safety. So if you're possibly if they're demonstrating them, make sure you've got full attention to what the appropriate place in the venue to be able to allow people to test and try them in a safe way.
Definitely. All right. And let's see. So another question, do you have a standard driver's liability waiver to provide for all test drivers to sign in advance of any test drives? So if you're inviting dealers to offer test drives at your event, make sure to ask them, and they should have their own liability waiver that they bring. If you do need an additional liability waiver that you'd like to give people to sign, again, email me and I'll help everyone out with that on a case-by-case basis. And then just a reminder, if you have personal vehicles there and they're giving ride-alongs, usually event insurance will not cover that. That would be covered under their personal vehicle insurance. Also, if they're letting people drive their vehicles, that would also be covered under their personal vehicle insurance. So we do encourage you to have dealers there if you want to offer test drives. All right. Okay. Any other questions that I missed? I'll be sure to get to. And again, you can email me as well. This recording of the webinar and the slides will be available on the driveelectricearthday.org website on the resources page. And then I'll also be sending out a follow-up email to everyone who registered to attend the webinar with a link to the recording and any other resources we mentioned that aren't on the website or aren't on the website yet. So I think that's it. Stan and Guy, did you want to add anything?
Just have fun. That's enjoy the experience.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and I hope this was very helpful. All right. Bye.